And when we asked him, why do you fight? What's your why? He said, because I can.
Why, Curtsy? Because we can.
Love it.
That's the PG version, everyone.
And now making his way to the red corner, we have Jack the Doctor LOSOWIKI. He is also 25 years old, coming to us out of Colorado Springs from Victory MMA. Jack fancies himself as a freestyle fighter. His record is currently 1-2. He is going to be cornered by Gilbert Smith, the former RFA world champion as well as Ultimate Fighter veteran. He's been training for a few years now. I've been able to call a few of his fights, whether it was here with Colorado Combat Club or No Mercy Extreme Fighting. He's a kid who's going to come in and bring the fight. Like we say, he's fought at a few different weight classes. Started off at 55, went up to 85, is now back down at 70. It is worth noting, he did step on at 173, but small difference here. Hopefully he can come in there and put on a show to rectify that.
Yeah, definitely. When you miss weight, you better come in prepared to fight.
But the thing is you typically see a strong showing from a lot of the Victory guys.
Yeah, Victory always comes in ready to scrap. Their guys are always on point, ready to go.
Absolutely. They're building quite a little squad down there in southern Colorado and Colorado Springs.
I love what Jack said here on his fighter interview, where we usually ask the guys, in one sentence, what can you describe when you get in the cage and people see you fight? His humor. He says, me, fighting in a cage.
Gotta love it.
That is some dry humor. You love to see it.
I mean, I feel like the only better, like, dry, not necessarily dry, because it was actually funny, but when Brent Campbell in our last show said sexiness or something like that.
I hope y'all ready for this one, man. Don't go nowhere, man. Check in right now. This next bout is out of the
Robert Skorheim looks ready.
He is dialed in.
He weighed in at already 169.8 pounds. He comes to us with a perfect record of 2 wins and no defeats. He represents Fit Facility out of Albuquerque, New Mexico. Ladies and gentlemen, put your hands together for Mr. Robert Skorheim. And his opponent, fighting out of the sheath underwear red corner. He weighed in at already 173 pounds on the dot. He comes to us with a record of 1 win and only 2 defeats. He represents Victory MMA out of Colorado Springs. Ladies and gentlemen, put your hands together for Mr. Jack LOSOWIKI. Third man in the cage, Mr. Joe Coca. How does you give your instructions in the dressing room? Protect yourselves at all times and obey my commands at all times. I expect a clean, fair fight. Touch your words and I'm
And these guys are ready to go. They have not broken their glance at each other, not one time.
The tension with a knife. Referee Joe Coca, the third man in the cage. Low start out of the corner from Jack LOSOWIKI. Skorheim draws the first strike.
Shoots under for a double, runs to the cage with a body lock. Will he finish this? And he does.
It did look like an accidental clash of heads on the landing there. But it doesn't look like either guy stopped from the impact. Skorheim is sitting right now in side control. LOSOWIKI is scrambling, trying to get back to his guard and work his way back up to his feet. You know, with a big, strong guy like that, like LOSOWIKI down on the bottom, Josh, what is, you think that it's just a cooking moment right now, just trying to let him kind of buck himself out of energy right now if you're Skorheim, especially if you fancy yourself the grappler?
That
he
is
working
exactly.
toward the head and arm right now.
Like you said, Curtsy, that's exactly what you want to do. You got a big, strong guy down there who's just going like a wild animal trying to get out. You got to settle him down. You have to cook for a bit. Let him get all that tension out. He's going to eventually let out a big... Oh, here we go with a reversal.
Big explosion.
Oh, but we have a guillotine.
Guillotine there in the guard. It does look to be tight.
That is
Jack's
tight.
looking to fight the hands. He's over on the right side.
Oh, he's
Jack
out.
pulls himself out. Some theatrics right away in the first round of this bout right here.
Wow, he jumped on that. Robert jumped on that guillotine so fast. Now he's working for a triangle, pushing the arm back.
That high.
You know, Curtsy, I think that Robert has some great jiu-jitsu transitions here.
Certainly. Now, Jack LOSOWIKI is going to look to try to posture himself up. His arm is across the center line, so it is definitely in danger. He's also in danger with his arm that far across the center line. If Robert were to switch over, he has an arm bar available as well. The triangle right now, though, folks, it's locked up a little bit on the calf from SKORHIEM, and it was on the toes of the locking foot. That's not the most secure lock position. Ideally, you want to be able to have the crevice of that ankle right at about the shin in the back of the knee. But that right there, there's the arm bar.
Just as you said it, there he goes, transitioning to the arm bar. Jack looks over at his corner for some advice.
Jack just needs to keep on trying to shake that arm loose. As soon as he gets his elbow free from the hip line, he's going to be safe. But he's right back into the triangle now. Triangle armbar series right here. We call this the Three Amigos. You also have an omoplata depending on which way that Jack decides to go. It's an absolutely lethal chain of submissions that you can cognitively fatigue your opponent into giving up a submission eventually.
But Jack is hanging in there tough. Very good first round by Robert SKORHIEM.
Right now it's going to be interesting to see how Jack reacts and comes back out in the second round. He did have a kind of a brief little sigh as soon as he got up. I want to see great body language from him coming out. And if I'm his coach in his corner, I'm telling him, hey, like, that's one round. Don't let that one round get you discouraged. You still have two more. You can still go out there and win this fight, but you need to get your head right now.
Exactly. I don't know if this is facetious or not, but it says on his interviews, on the fighter interviews, that his favorite hobbies outside of cage fighting is what, Curtsy?
Is bar fighting.
Bar fighting. You don't go to the ground in the bar.
No,
that's a little bit dangerous.
Yeah.
Let's see how he handles this next round.
Both guys train at altitude, so we're not looking at any sort of advantage there in terms of the conditioning from just natural environment. One guy being out of Colorado Springs, as we already mentioned, and then the other out of New Mexico.
Jack does look a little fatigued right now.
And you have to wonder if that's in part because of the weight cut or the issues in that process.
Could be.
And then, too, I mean, to be fair, that was suffocating grappling once it got to those exchanges.
Nice outside trip.
Beautiful timing and level change right there by Jack LOSOWIKI to get the takedown.
This is where he has to be careful. He has to posture up, keep his head and arms safe right now, because Robert's not going to do nothing but search for submissions.
I'm impressed by SKORHIEM's guard play.
Yes. Tremendous.
But in terms of collapsing him down, this is a great job by Jack right now to close that space and not allow for the legs and the hips to go to work on the bottom for Robert SKORHIEM. But again, though, Josh, that's the first time that we've seen really someone use a technical guard recollect right there, and SKORHIEM just did it.
Just did it. That's showing that he is very seasoned on the ground.
And he doesn't sit with his guard closed for very often. He opens it up a lot, and he's constantly working from that. I like seeing that. That means that he's not content with just sitting down there on the bottom.
100%.
Massive
Wait, we have a
fist right there by Jack
reverse
LOSOWIKI.
triangle. And I think you see that a lot, Curtsy, with guys coming out of 10th Planet. They're always working out of their guard.
Always working, always busy, and just keeping your opponent guessing and maybe baiting him into making a mistake. We're in a peculiar entanglement right here.
This is one of those verbal memes where when you're watching MMA and your friends comes in and this is what's on the TV.
Jack almost fell right there into a leg lock, though. But, oh, there's a heel
hook. Got
right
a heel hook.
But Jack is doing the smart thing in terms of just trying to punch his way out and get his leg free by any means. He's still not out of danger there. His leg is finally cleared.
What a good job by Jack.
That is the one trouble. You know, leg locks and heel hooks can be absolutely filthy and devastating. They can destroy the person who gets put in his life for a few months if you don't tap soon enough. But there is also naturally the counter that
get punched in the mouth.
Your face is exposed if you're the one who's applying the hold. And just ask Ryan Hall how that went against a guy like Ilya Topuria, who has Thor's hammers for fists.
Yeah, does not work well. But Jack's doing a great job. He has the bottom leg pinned down. I'd like to see Jack just posture up a little bit. Throw some heavy bombs now.
Yes, he does need to do some scoring here from the top position.
Jordan, I think we're going into
Much
this
tighter
third
contested
round 1-1. What do you think?
I think it's fair. I think that it definitely could be 1-1. It depends on how they interpret the action from the bottom in that round.
Yeah.
Similar to last weekend's title fight with Valentina Shevchenko. How do you score that little bit of striking from the bottom as well as those submission attempts? I do think that Jack scored enough from the top, and especially that the biggest shot of the entire round was the takedown, and then I believe that hammer fist. So if we're talking defining moments of the round, I got to give that one to Jack.
For sure.
However, if I'm in Jack's corner, I'm telling him that we need to have a sense of urgency here because we don't know.
I think we need to if you're in Jack's corner, you need to tell him that he needs to bite down on his mouthpiece and go do what he just did in the second round and stay away from the submission setups.
And a little bit of theatrics by Jack LOSOWIKI.
The famous DX.
Ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls watching around the world. If you remember the Road Dogg Jesse James, you'll know exactly what I'm talking about.
What a scramble by these two guys. Wow. We have Robert on the back now. Got one hook in. Kezi got the second hook in. Jack needs to fight these hands right now.
He needs to really make an effort. He pulled that top hand down. That's exactly what he needed to do right there from that position, was fight off the top hand.
There we go. Good positioning by Jack.
But now, Jack needs to get himself out of the backpack. You sit here in this type of dominant position, it just doesn't look well on the scorecard. And you're also constantly in danger and in a threat right now. If he can get that 2-on-1, get his shoulder blades to the mat, and start to get his hips over high, he's going to be in a much better position to start scoring.
Oh, certainly, Curtsy. We definitely want to see Robert here as he's transition. Oh, we don't want that. That is not what you want if you're Robert. Or is it? Because his guard play has been very nice as of late.
Yeah, I feel like a guy like Robert and the skill set that he's displayed, he's comfortable wherever it's going to go right now. Obviously, you don't want a big, strong guy like Jack raining down ground and pound on you. But in general, I think that you have to, in mixed martial arts, accept that if you're going to be a guard player, that you're going to take some damage.
You're going to take damage, and you might lose a few rounds, but it takes some time to set up a submission, so these setups better be on point because he only has so much time left to work for one.
Which is an incredible point to make there, Josh Friend, in an elimination bout with only 180 seconds to work with. It's definitely a tough thing to set up some of those more trap set submissions, if you will. Those that take a little bit of time. You know, you're baiting a guy one direction versus the other, and then it eventually finds the kill. You don't have a lot of time for that.
No, especially in the third round when you're both tired. And it looks here like Jack he's contentious to stay in the guard, work. Oh, here we have. Referee stands him up.
In the first separation of the night for referee Joe Coca, he did warn the fighters in the back.
Jack over here. We have Robert shooting in for a takedown, double leg scoop.
Both guys, though, with a sense of urgency, I think they both believe that this could be a tight fight, and they need to do whatever it takes in these final seconds to win this fight.
Robert now taking the back again.
What a scrap right there, Josh.
That was a scrap from both gentlemen.
Good evening, fight. I'll tell you what, I don't want to be the judge for that one.
I'll tell you what. No, I think the judges have a very difficult decision ahead of them. I definitely think who I think won, but who cares what I think? It's all up to what the judges scored.
At the end of the day, the only people's opinion who matters is those 3 officials sitting stateside. And we await these scores to be tallied.
But for both these guys, both of them having under 5 amateur fights, you know, Jack being 1-2 and Robert being 2-0, this is a good experience for both of them. A good learning experience to go all 3 rounds, have a tough opponent, push you back and forth, see what you're really made of, see what your medal's made out of.
Certainly. And usually sometimes, folks, when it takes a little bit of time to gather the scores, they are trying to make sure that everything was calculated right, the right guy's name was written down, and a fair amount when it is a little bit of an elongated time for these decisions to come in, we have a split decision. I can't really say if that's going to be the case for this one, but it was that tight of a contest.
Very much could be. It depends on which judge see it which way.
Certainly. Because in that 3rd round there, I do think that Jack won the exchanges on the feet. It's going to be close, you know, just how do you interpret the striking versus the grappling? That's what it comes down to.
We have our answer right now.
Let's put our hands together for these 2 warriors right here.
Aaron Burrell with the official decision.
Your judges have reached a unanimous decision. All 3 judges see it the same, scoring the bout 29-28. Declaring your winner and fighting out of the blue corner, Robert SKORHIEM!
I think that is the correct decision. Robert definitely had the better position most of the 3rd round, ended the round with dominant position, trying to create any type of damage he could, but hats off to both competitors.